Interesting.
Hi, there you
Hi,
are.
how are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you? How has your day been so far?
So far, so good. Non-eventful, which is nice. My phone and do not disturb. Are
Productive
you, were
was
you
my
coming,
question.
what?
I wanted to ask, has it been productive already? Because we would never know with you, right?
Well, a productive morning a lot of times can be very quiet and, which I think
Mhm.
is really good. Yeah.
And
So it's
have,
good. I got some small tasks kind of taken care of, and this morning has felt nice and relaxing. I think
that's
that sounds
very nice.
productive.
Yeah, and I think that's something we can also talk about a bit, why productivity can also be quiet. That's actually very interesting. But
Hmm.
before we dive into that, let me maybe introduce myself. I'm the host of many first conversations. I'm Regula Fischer, based in Zurich in Switzerland. And I would like to introduce you a bit before we dive into the conversation about first times in your life, if that's okay. So
Yeah.
you're Tanya Dalton, you're a productivity expert, serial entrepreneur, a motivational speaker, and a best-selling author. You started your career as a teacher, but already while teaching, created your first business on the side just for fun. But then eventually changed directions fully and you set yourself the goal to absorb your husband's MBA salary working for Fortune 500 companies and achieved that within just a year, which then led to people reaching out to you and ask you for help with their businesses. And you ended up founding inkWell Press in 2014, which is a company that designs and sells products that help people plan and put at the center of their lives what really matters to them. And also, this business, you turned into a 7-digit business within just 18 months and with only 3 employees, I believe. And I think one of them might have been your husband. Is that correct?
That's right. One was me, one was my husband, and one part-timer.
Oh, yeah, it's unbelievable. And you then also wrote a book about your productivity journey, The Joy of Missing Out, which was named Top 10 Business Book of the Year. And only 2 years later, On Purpose was published. You're also a contributing writer at Forbes and Entrepreneur, and you have your own podcast, The Intentional Advantage. You live with your husband and employee, maybe your husband and the 2 children in North Carolina in the US. And yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here today on this episode of Many Fast Conversations, where we talk about first time and other life experiences that have taught us something or inspired us in a specific way. Are you good to go?
I'm good to go. We're going to have a lot of fun. I like this idea and this concept of talking about firsts. I love that.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I think it is a lot. I see a lot of overlaps also with what you do, right? With the courage we need to find over and over again, the confidence, and so on. And
Mhm.
I would like to start actually with what you have put at the center of your life, this topic of productivity. Could you take us to the moment or the time in your life when you became aware that this needs to be put at the center of your life?
That's such a good question because, I've always thought of myself as being very productive. I was always, even when I was, teaching school, I was in charge of the calendar for all the teachers. I've always been very organized. But I had a moment when my kids were little, and it was funny because I was actually stirring a pot of spaghetti when it happened. I was stirring this pot of spaghetti with my kids playing at my feet. They were really little at the time. They're now tall and big kids. And I heard the garage door open. So I knew my husband was home, and I thought, oh, I'm so glad he's home. I can now get more done, right? Because I'd already done 5 million things, but I still had more to get done for the day. And my husband didn't come in. He didn't come in the house. He sat out there. Full minute passes. Another minute passes. 3 minutes pass. At minute 4, I'm like, what is he doing? I'm so mad. I go over to the garage. I open the door, and he's out there laughing with some bit on the radio, right? He's having a good time just sitting in the car listening to something. And I was so mad at him. And I thought to myself, I would never do that. And then I was like, oh, hold on a minute. I would never give myself 5 minutes to sit in the car and just laugh. I wouldn't give myself 5 minutes to transition from work into home. what had happened to me, that I found that all of my success, or how I felt about myself, was based on what I had gotten accomplished for the day. And that wasn't really fulfilling me. I wasn't happy. And that was really the moment I realized that what I had thought of as productivity was really making me miserable. It was doing all the things. It was saying yes to all the people. It was checking a million things off my list, but it wasn't about bringing joy into my life. It wasn't about breathing and the ease and doing the things that matter most. And so, that to me was the turning point, and that brought me on the journey where I began to realize productivity is not about doing more. It's doing what's most important. And I think that's the big mistake we make in today's world, is we live in this world of hustle, 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 go, go, go. If you're not growing, you're somehow dying, right? If you're not doing all the things, you're failing. And the truth is, it's making us miserable. If we step back and decide, these are the things that make me happy, these are the things I want to do, we can find so much more joy in our everyday lives. Because I really do think that we have a lot of joy, a lot of happiness in our everyday lives. It's just there in the cracks and the crevices some days. But if we don't slow down, we miss it. So that's really what I love to help people do. It's not about, can I cram more things in my day? It's, do we need to cram more into your day? What is really most important? And let's make that the showcase of your day.
And I love how the title of your book, The Joy of Missing Out, actually caused that feeling in me of just reading it, just the word joy, but then also of missing out. It sounds so liberating just thinking about it, like, wow, really? I'm allowed to miss out on things? Oh, yeah, let me think about that, right? So if, of course, productivity has the business angle, but then also it laps over or goes into all aspects of life. But if we focus on business for a bit, because you have been working with people, also helping them in their businesses, what would you say has maybe changed in that field, in the productivity field, in that decade and more that you have been really focusing and working closely with that topic?
Yeah, well, this is the thing, is so many productivity experts really do focus in on, how can I write 75 blog posts in 30 minutes? How can I, right? And it's not focused on quality, it's focused on quantity. So that's one of the things I really, when I'm working with business owners and business or leaders, we focus in on the quality of things, not the quantity. And like, one of the big mistakes a lot of people in business make is they feel like they need more customers, or they need more products, or they need more services, that more somehow equals more. And so it really is a mindset shift to reframe and understand that it's not about more. It's really, when you do fewer, when you do less, you do higher quality, which means you bring in the right customers. You don't want to bring in all the customers. Not all the customers are meant for you. You are not right for them. They are not right for you. And we find that a lot of times, if you have this tension with your clients, your customers, where you're like, oh, I don't like working with that person, they're not your right client, right? So let's get focused on who that is. And then what are the products or the services that really work for them and work for you? And that creates this beautiful symmetry where you're really able to do the work that matters, that feels fulfilling to you, while helping other people. And that really can be as easy as looking at your client lists, looking at your product lists, and really using my favorite tool, honestly, is Pareto Principle, which a lot of people call it the 80-20 rule, which is 20% of your efforts result in give you 80% of your results. So it's the vital few, it's the fewer things. It's 20% of your customers really create 80% of your revenue. 20% of your products is what you sell 80% of the time. But what happens is we try to focus on the 100%, doing all the things, spreading ourselves thin, and not really making the impact. If we chose to go in and dial in to fewer, to the vital few, we would actually make a bigger impact while having more breathing room, while actually enjoying the work that we're doing instead of feeling frazzled and exhausted. I think, most people, when they go into business for themselves, they don't go into it thinking, you know what I want to do? I want to work 100 hours a week. Yeah. Nobody does that. You go into business for yourself because you want the lifestyle freedom, you want the time freedom, you want the location freedom and the financial freedoms. It's about freedom, but we find ourselves chained to our desks or our laptops or our smartphones, right? So yeah, you can be at the pool on your phone getting work done. is that really what you want? Because I don't. If I'm by the pool, I want to be by the pool. I want to be enjoying myself. So it is a lot of reframing and shifting how a lot of that works.
And it's interesting that you bring in freedom because, yeah, I do believe most people, if not all, would say, yes, I want freedom. But then I would be really curious to hear from your experience. I mean, is it really what people want most of the time? Because it comes with responsibility, right? It comes with courage, with, again, as we mentioned before, stepping out into the unknown, taking stands, as you always say. So what's your experience with that? Are people always kind of fully ready for that, or there be challenges?
It's such a good question. Yeah, because people do, they want freedom, but it's such a good question. Do you really want freedom? And I think this goes into too, when people say that they want freedom, a lot of times they want just no structure whatsoever, or just this looseness. And then they feel unmoored, they feel unsettled. And so what I like to say is it's really about creating scaffolding for yourself. It's like the bones in your body, right? Your bones in your body don't make you run, skip, hop, and jump, but they allow you to do those things. So that's what really good productivity does for you. That's what really good financial freedom does for you. It gives you the scaffolding to be able to do the things you want to do. I think a lot of times we get so caught up in setting the wrong goals, which is what I talk about in my second book, right? Because we look around at what everybody else is doing and we're like, I want some of that, right? Oh, I should be doing those things. Or this woman's doing amazing things. I should do those things as well. And the truth is, what you want, your business or whatever it is you desire, that's a vehicle for the life you want. Your life is the centerpiece. What do you want in your life? And then you create the business, you create the productivity, you create the finances around that. That's true freedom, because financial freedom isn't having, $100 million in the bank, killing yourself to get to this, unicorn number in your bank account that one day then you can rest, because it's going to be impossible, right? You're going to wear yourself out. You're going to wear out your relationships. You're going to wear out all the things that are amazing in life. So if instead we decide, what is it I really want? And then we design the life around that, that's true freedom.
Very powerful, very powerful. How or what maybe rather would you say helps people in that process of letting go? Because it is a lot about having the courage to let go of things and beliefs and pictures out there, right? What are
all of those things?
Yeah.
Letting go. And, and this goes really well with a lot of the things that you talk about with, your first. One of the big things is letting go what everybody else thinks. Because what are people going to think if I'm not doing more? What are people going to think if I don't sign my kids up for every single after school activity and drive them around town for 5 hours a day? What is everybody else going to think if whatever it is, if I'm not trying to scale the corporate ladder? Or you have to let go of that. And you have to really go internal and think to yourself, what is it I want? When we talked about productivity earlier, I said productivity is not about doing more. It's doing what's most important. Not what's most important to your mother-in-law, not what's most important to your neighbor or, the person down the street, not what's most important to your kids. It's what's most important to you. What is most important to you? So the first step, I think, with any of this, and this is so important when it comes to courage and being able to step outside of these things, it's going inside you first. It's really taking a good look at you and say, what is it I want? What does the life look like for me? And then we try to figure out, okay, if that's what your life looks like, then this is what's going to work for you. And then we create that life around it. I think so often we think that there's this like magic button that we just have to push, the right productivity system, and suddenly, I'm going to be productive and it's going to be amazing and business is going to be fantastic. And what happens is we put that system in the middle, right? And we wrap our life around it. We bend and twist and try to contort ourselves. Like we get up. I just wrote an article about this on my Substack. We read that the most successful CEOs get up and they do 75 million things in the morning. And then, so we're like, okay, well, if I don't get up and I don't read 5 books in the morning and I don't go for a 32-mile run and I don't do these things, somehow I'm failing. When maybe the truth is you want to have a very relaxing morning. You want to meditate. You want to journal. You want to listen to relaxing music. You want to do some stretching. You want to, right? What is it that you desire and want in life? And then let's create that for you. So I think that's the big thing is is really dialing into what is it you desire? What does that life look like if you let go of everything else and you focus in on what matters? That is freedom. That is courage. That is taking care of you. And the truth is, when you do that, everybody in your world benefits from it because you're the best version of you. And there's this beautiful effect that's been scientifically proven called the halo effect, that when we do something brave, when we do something healthy, when we do something that makes us feel good, it bleeds itself into everybody else's life. Other people look at us and go, oh, wow. Your kids look at you and go, oh my gosh, my mom does these things. Or your coworkers look at you and say, oh, the person in the other cubicle, they're doing these things. Or the other CEOs look at you and suddenly they start doing these things as well. And it's this beautiful halo effect. A lot of times we feel like doing something for ourselves, stepping out, a lot of what you talk about, right? Going and doing something that feels audacious or big or frightening or scary, it's selfish. And that's not true. It's really life-giving. It's giving yourself permission, but it also gives permission to everybody else. And isn't that a beautiful thing? So I think it's all about reframing. I like to tell people that 99% of business takes place right here between your ears. It's mindset. It really is. You can't get to that next level of growth unless you've done some personal growth. And then once that personal growth happens, the business growth happens. And then guess what? We need a little more personal growth. And then we need to have business growth. And it's this beautiful cycle of as you're working on you, your business starts flourishing and doing better because you're able to let go. You're able to release the control that you have to do all the things, or you're micromanaging, or whatever it is, right? You're able to let those things go and you're able to allow it to be much more organic. And then life feels so much easier. It really is amazing.
And exactly what you're saying about putting at the center of our life what we really desire, right, is a journey in itself. And I think also involves a lot of patience at times with ourselves, because as I see with the many firsts, also the conversations and the journeys and the people I talk to, that this first step is often the one that takes the most courage, right? And is the most difficult one. But afterwards it becomes easier. But exactly as you said, I mean, isn't it selfish to put at the center of what we do just what we feel we need? And you already kind of alluded to it a bit within your family. I would be really interested in if you could share a bit more about how you navigated that as a family, that change, with you putting more at the center of what you needed and what brought joy to you. Because if I dare say, I know it's stereotypically, and I hope it's less and less the truth, but especially moms, I feel often struggle, right, as the givers, to really put themselves at the center. What's been your experience with that?
I think you're so right. It really is. I think, as women, especially, we have been conditioned to be the givers, the nurturers. We take care of everybody else, and we feel like we are helping everybody by not taking care of ourselves. And the truth is, you can't shine your light on others if your battery needs recharging. We got to charge our own batteries so that then we can take care of everyone else. I know for me, my kids are now 21 and 17, which is crazy to me. But it's been fascinating to watch them grow up with me really doing the things that matter most to me, and using that as my family is one of the things that matters most to me, right? So I'm able to prioritize them, which I think has been really, really insightful for them to be able to see that a lot of times what I choose is based off those priorities. So I will choose them. And a good example of that is, when my kids were young, Friday nights were my most precious night of the week. I wouldn't give that away to anybody. You had to be someone really, really important for me to give up Friday night, because Friday night was pizza and movies with my kids, right? So they've watched me make choices, and they see, because I make these choices, how important they are to me, because they see me making sacrifices for them. But I'm truly a huge advocate for involving your family in your business. I think a lot of people, and especially productivity experts, talk a lot. I talk a lot about boundaries as well, but they feel like it's like work and home. They're two very separate compartments. And that doesn't work, because you are still you, and you're the person who's going back and forth to these compartments. So I really have always had my children and my husband, obviously, very involved in my business. So even when my kids were really little, so I shifted and started growing my business when my kids were playing at my feet. I started my first business with $50, ended up shifting it from not being this side hobby thing into being a true, real big business that I wanted to scale and grow. And when they were little, I would say things to them like, oh, look at all these orders I've got. I have all these orders to do. You know what? All these orders need a Snoopy sticker, right? Every one of these needs a Snoopy sticker. Oh, am I going to have to? I don't think I can do this. And they'd say, well, I can do that. I'd say, oh, could you put a Snoopy? I mean, the orders were just for me, right? But I would have them putting a sticker on there or doing a stamp or doing. So they always felt, even when they were really little, that they were a part of our business. And so as they got older, that shifted, and then they would work on days off, and they would go and work in the warehouse with me because I had big warehouses, and they were really involved. And even with our planning as a family, we do team planning. So I do team planning twice a week, once on Sundays with my family and once on Mondays with my team at work. So on Sundays, our team planning includes, hey, what do you kids have going on? What are your projects at school? You know, how are you going to break down that big project? So I'm teaching my kids to be productive. But then I also talk to them about, this is what I have going on. This is what I need support on. So when we're doing this team planning, let's say that Jack has, play practice 3 times in the week. We'll say, okay, Jack's got a lot of play practice this week. Who's going to help out with Jack's chores? So then we all come together as a family, and my husband might be like, oh, well, I can take out the trash. And Kay will say, well, I can put away the dishes, and I can, right? We come together, and I do that with them. I've got a launch going on this week. Who can help me with my chores? Who can help me with my things? So my kids are always, since they were really little, we've been working as a team. It's not just me doing the lifting of everybody else. We lift each other. And I think that creates a stronger foundation as a family, because your family is your team. And a lot of times we forget that. And we feel like, oh, we've got to do all the things at home, right? And the kids are doing their own thing. When really, think about when your kids are little, anytime that they can help do anything small, they're like, I help, I'll do it. They want to help. They want to be a part of it. So allowing them to be a part of it really is so beneficial. And they get to see what you're doing. They know who you are outside of being a mom or a dad or, whoever you are to those children. And that's really powerful for them. I think it really gets them to understand you as a person, not just as their parent.
Yeah, I can easily see that. And obviously you would then also be talking about challenges, right? Because I think that's often taboos, right? We would not mention it, be it with friends at work or even our own family, that we would just rather not talk about certain things. And yeah, it sounds very, very integrated and beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Also very inspirational. Now when I guess they will also see you have the courage and support you in that, because one of the questions that I would have for you is, where do you find the courage again and again to do crazy things like leave social media channels, major social media channels that you had been on at that time, you left, or things like that. I believe the family and that integrative system or setup is probably one pillar for that courage. Is there anything else that helps you build that courage again and again?
Yeah, it's such a great question, because I think you're right. So often we don't want to share our struggles. We feel like it's wrong to share our struggles. I think especially with our kids, it's so good for them to see that we struggle, because you know what? They struggle too. And if they see that you struggle, it makes it okay that they struggle. Instead, they think, wow, my mom has it all together. She has no problems. What's wrong with me? I think, again, it's allowing them to see you as a person, as a human, and that's really valuable.
I need to do that. It's so beautiful.
I think so often we're afraid to let other people lift us up. And the truth is, right now, anyone watching this or listening to this, I want you to think about the last time that you had a friend or someone you cared about who was struggling and having a hard time. And when you were able to help them, how did you feel? You felt amazing, right? It felt so good to be able to help your friend. Well, if you ask your friend for help, isn't that a gift? Aren't you allowing them to feel good about helping you? So it really is this beautiful reciprocity that happens. And that allows you to be braver. It allows you to be courageous. I think the truth is, the word fearless is thrown around a lot in today's world, and it's not about being fearless at all. When firefighters run into a burning building, they're not fearless, they're brave. They have fear. That fear is really important. It's so good to have fear in our bodies because it triggers us and cues us like, oh, we need to pay attention, right? It tells us not to touch the hot stove again. It tells us not to lean too far when we're looking at the Grand Canyon, right? And so fear is an important thing. So trying to become fearless isn't the goal. It's trying to become brave, seeing the fear and stepping forward anyways, running inside that burning building, even though it scares you, because you know that's what you need to do, or because you know it's right, or it's what you're meant to do. So let's first of all get rid of that idea that you have to be fearless, okay? And let's realize that it is about choosing to take the step. And having that support system in place really does help. I think it's really important to have people around you who cheer you on and support you. But the truth is, that will not always be your family. In fact, many times your family will be the ones who are like, no, don't run into the burning building. No, don't do these things, right? Don't start the new job. Don't try to launch the business. Don't do these things. And it's not because they don't love you. It's not even because they don't believe in you. It's because they do love you. But they are afraid that if it doesn't work out, that you're going to be in a bad place, right?
Yeah.
And so they hold you back because they love you. So sometimes that support system doesn't come from your parents or your spouse or your kids. It maybe comes from somewhere outside of your family. And that's
Like
okay. Yeah, yes, like the podcast. Or there's groups. Let's say that you're wanting to start, your own business. There's entrepreneurial groups. There's different places you can go and find the people who are there for that support. Your family's still there supporting you in other ways, but they're not always going to believe in your dreams right away. And that's okay. I know when I started inkWell Press, which is physical products, physical planners, my parents were like, what are you doing? Because I'd already grown one business that absorbed my husband's income, and he was now working for me. It was paying our mortgage, allowing us to go on amazing vacations. They were like, what are you doing? This is crazy. Why would you close this business? And I was like, because it doesn't fulfill me. It doesn't make me happy. It doesn't feel like it's tied to my purpose, which are all soft things, we could say, right? Like, oh, purpose and those. It's so important to wake up and be excited about your day. It's so important to wake up and feel good about the work you're doing. So my parents were not fully bought in. My husband's parents weren't fully bought in, but my husband was bought in. And that helped. And my friends who were other entrepreneurs, they were bought in and they were like, we know you can do this. So I still go to my family for some things, but I went to them. And then now my parents were like, oh, scale to 7 figures in 18 months. Okay, you're okay. You're good. Now they're, and so sometimes it takes family a little while to come around. So I think so often we like to look at things and say, well, this is a sign. If I feel fear or my family doesn't buy in, this is a sign from the universe that this is not supposed to happen. And the truth is, fear and excitement feel exactly the same in your body. Just like being at the top of a roller coaster, right? Your palms get sweaty, your breath gets a little short. It's exactly the same. So we can choose, again, here we go back to that 99% of it is in your head. You can choose to say, I'm scared, or you can choose to say, I'm excited and my body is showing me that I'm excited. And I'm going to go get on that roller coaster anyways and go down that hill and right, all those things. So it really is looking at things differently and choosing that. It is actively making a choice. That's what I think the heart of productivity is. The heart of intentional living is making the choice, choosing to do the first thing, right? Choosing to do it and doing it, even though maybe you're a little bit scared or a little bit nervous. All good things.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. Now, talking about first times, you mentioned that people should maybe remember when they last, right? Remember that they helped someone. But I also hope that we can encourage everyone to also think about the next time, the first time that they would do that and really step into something that feels uncomfortable, as you nicely described, but for sure will be worth it looking back. I'm not sure if you can or are willing to shed some light on what exciting first times you have maybe planned or thought of for this year.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about it because I actually am just back from what I'm calling my radical sabbatical, which is I took 8 months off of working and just decided to get off that roller coaster, that merry-go-round for a little bit. Right? Well, and it was funny because so many good things were happening. I had just, speaking of first, I had just gotten on the Today Show. I went on the Today Show, did a great job. The producer was really happy with me. All these amazing things were happening. And yet I was feeling a little bit burned out, a little bit tired, a little bit like, okay, I need to step back and really reassess, where am I going? Am I doing the things I'm supposed to be doing, but the world tells me I'm supposed to be doing, or the things that I really want to do? And so I think this happens a lot of times in our lives where we have these questions and we're afraid to slow down to ask the questions. Hey, do I like where I am? Is this where I want to go? And so that did take bravery because a lot of amazing things were happening. It was like, okay, my publicist was like, let's get you back on the Today Show. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to wait. I think I'm going to take a little break and I'm going to breathe for a little bit. And it's not always possible to walk away completely from what you've created and come back to it, but you don't have to constantly be climbing the ladder, right, of success. We can choose to stop and slow down and take a look and go, hold on, where am I? Where am I in my life's path, right? Do I like where I'm going? Do I like where I am? Where do I want to go next? And so it is this very intentional pause. So I took 8 months off, which is quite a while. And then it was like, okay, are we coming back? What are we doing? And when I stopped to assess, my first thing was, I love the podcast. I love the Intentional Advantage is my podcast. We have close to 300 episodes. I know it means a lot to people. I have amazing listeners. And so it was like, okay, I want to bring that back, but what do I want to do differently? Which is how I decided that I was going to start a Substack. And so that was a little bit scary because it was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea how any of this works. I had to spend a month really just figuring things out and researching. I think the beauty of a first time is the not knowing and the not being constrained. It's like, well, what if we try this? What if we do this? There's so much beauty in the unknown. And I think so often we're afraid of that. Well, I don't know how this Substack thing works, so just forget it. I'm just not going to do it.
I'm
and
too
instead,
busy.
yeah, I'm too busy. So instead it's, okay, you know what? I'm going to give myself an hour a day or an hour a week, if that's all you can afford, to just dive into it and explore. What is this? Do I like this? Does this look interesting to me? All right, how do I make this work? And choosing to be an explorer in your own life, an explorer into the world. And when we do that, we truly do give I know we've used that word freedom already today, but it's the freedom to be who you want to be. And sometimes you'll explore and you'll go, oh, whew, not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that at all, which is very empowering and very helpful. That is not a waste of time. If you've discovered that something is not for you, that's just as powerful as what is for you, right? Oftentimes, knowing what you don't want is more powerful than knowing what you do. So for me, starting this Substack has been that way because there's a lot of how do I want to format the newsletter? Because I'm changing how I'm doing all this communication with all of my followers and the people who've been with me for years and years and years. And now I'm like, guess what? We're going in a different direction. And everyone's like, I'm on board. What can I do? Right. And so that's what's exciting is, are you going to lose some people? Probably. Some people will say, well, I like the old stuff better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. But I'm shedding an old skin. I'm evolving and I'm growing into who I am next. And there's going to be plenty of people on the right who are going to stay with me and plenty of people ahead who are going to be joining in, right? So it is this constant evolution of who we are. Because the truth is, if I'm the same person 10 years from now that I am today, that means I am failing. I want to be a different version of me, a more evolved version, someone who's figured things out, who's had some successes, who's had some failures too. I learn a lot from my failures. I think the only way that we truly fail is if we're not failing from time to time, because we're not sticking our neck out there, we're not trying. So that for me is one of my big firsts that I'm doing right now is, first of all, taking off time from work, which felt crazy because talk about full freedom to have nothing planned in your day. That is really unsettling. It's like, wait, what do I want to do? You don't even know sometimes because we're
Mhm.
so busy doing things.
Yeah.
So doing that and then launching this Substack, which I call not rocket science, because a lot of what I teach, a lot of what I talk about, people are like, oh, it's so simple. And I always say, yeah, it's not rocket science because it's not. Life should not be rocket science. It should be easy. It should flow for us. It should really boost us and propel us to where we want to go, but it doesn't have to be difficult.
I love that. And also, it's so beautiful to see how in you these things come together and how you role model them. On the one hand, there's this the productivity, which sounds, like planning, structured, right? But then on the other hand,
Mhm.
and this comes through so beautiful in you, is this explorer soul that wants to be nourished as well and wants to get the excitement of the newness. For example. So it's really, you're a very, very beautiful, strong role model there. So thank you for that. I would like
You.
to close with a bit of a game. I think playfulness is something that we need as well in life. I heard you once say that mindset is one of your favorite words. I'm not sure if it still is, but could you give us one or two favorite words that you currently have, and maybe just a sentence or two for each of them, why they are a favorite word at the moment?
Yeah, well, I would say two of my favorite words are savor and linger.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are two undervalued words, quite frankly, because life is about savoring. It's about soaking it in and truly being present. I think so often we're either, ruminating about the past or worrying about the future that we're not really fully embodying the present. So savoring, if you're savoring, means you're enjoying it. You're taking it in with all of your senses. So if you're eating, it means taking your time and not doing some working while you're eating your lunch, right? It means that you're tasting the food and you're smelling the food and you're enjoying it and you're allowing the time to stretch. If you want time to stretch, that's how you do it. And truly, even that idea of exploring, that is what allows time to feel longer, to feel like it's stretching. And that word lingering is another word that is very similar, right? Where it's this idea of stretching the time and allowing it to just unfold itself. And it does happen when we're exploring. So one of the ways that I like to allow time to linger or to stretch is, a lot of times we drive the same route to work every day, right? You go the same route, you don't even pay attention, you just do it, or you're riding the train or whatever it is, but you're not really paying attention. So I will, at least once a week, I'll choose a color. So let's say the color is pink. I'll choose a color before I get in my car. And then on the way to work, I tell my brain, all right, we're looking for pink today. And I start looking for things that are pink. And all of a sudden I'll notice a tricycle on the side of the road, or I'll notice this little pink playhouse that I'd never seen before in this house I've passed a million times. Never saw the house, but there's a pink playhouse. And I'm like, oh, there's a pink playhouse. And so your brain starts filtering for pink and you start noticing these different things along your route, along your path. And that allows you to really enjoy your time in the car. So there's little things that you can do because yes, mindset is one of my favorite games. That's a mindset game, right? But it is this idea of savoring and lingering. They go with time, but it also goes with being present.
That's a very powerful takeaway for us. Thank you so much. I wish you a lot of different flavors to savor and colors to enjoy. And thank you so much for joining us today. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. This was great. I enjoyed it.